Hey everyone, Bob O'Mac here, and as promised, I told you guys I was going to do a video on the firehouse. Here it is. Here are all the pieces disassembled. Now, I went ahead and put it together like a couple weeks or last week or whatever, and then I had the joy of taking it apart, which I don't recommend. But as you can see, we got all the pieces out here and whatnot. I'm going to go step by step with the instructions. We're going to see what we're going to do with it. I'm going to try to piece this thing together as fast and painlessly as possible. As you can see, there's the instructions right there. So enough with the chitter chatter. Hope you guys enjoy, and let's get the show started. Step one, guys. Let's put some sidewalks together. It's as simple as that. So, using the hyperlap feature on the camera, all you're going to do here is just snap in all three pieces to create your base or foundation, if you will, for the firehouse diorama. Alright, so here is our sidewalk all set up. Once again, this is the foundation for the diorama, and it's actually one of the easiest parts to set up on this whole thing. Now, of course, right here, our second step is to connect all the doors together. This is somewhat of an easy process, nothing to really worry about too much. As you can see here in the hyperlapse video, you just line up your marks, try to get the door open and shut with really no issues. A couple times throughout this process, I had a problem clipping in both ends to that. Just take your time, and I'm sure you guys won't have any issues with it whatsoever. Now, once we got that part all set up, as you can see, the doors open and shut fine, really no issues. Bringing everything back into focus here, our next step is to connect the pillars, if you will, to the doors, which will lead us into our next video. And to do that, you just line up your correct door to whatever pillar you want. You get it to once again connect on. Once again, it can get a little tricky. I think on the second one I had a little bit of an issue. It did get a bit frustrating, but once again, I'm doing this on camera. You guys are going to be doing this at home with really no issues, so I think it's going to go a lot smoother for you guys than it did for me. Once you got that all set up, as you can see, our next step here, I'm going to just move forward with it, is to connect the pillars and the doors to the base of the sidewalk, and that actually isn't too hard to do either, as long as you line up everything. So you set your first piece in like that, you set your second piece in, and voila, you got the front of the firehouse, and that's a beautiful looking piece. It was just that wouldn't be bad. I mean, it wouldn't be amazing, but it's not horrible. But as you can see, we're starting to get the picture of how awesome and huge this thing really is. Our next step now is to connect our middle section of the firehouse together to help build that archway. As you can see here, you just connect that along with the window pieces. Once again, I'm combining several steps here to try to make things go faster for everyone. Once again, those little clips do present issues at times, but at the end of the day, they do end up working pretty good. And once again, I'm doing this on camera as opposed to spending my time without any distractions to get everything all set up. It's not that it's super hard to do, but as you can see, we got another set built up, another two pieces, and we're just cooking with gasoline here. Now what the instructions want us to do is now take all the pins and the triangle clip-ons and the other clip-ons together to start forming everything. And the cool thing about all of this, as I flip this around, is Diamond packed so many extras of these, you shouldn't have lost any. But I'll be honest with everyone, I kind of lost quite a few, but I ended up having enough to fill out this whole set. As you see, they all plug in once you line everything up, and that's the key with this thing. Make sure you're lining these up properly when you clip them and stuff, because if you don't, you're going to run into problems. But as you can see, very big. It's all starting to paint that bigger picture now. The house is starting to fill out a lot better, and I think this is just really cool. This is, you know, you're building something that we've all been anticipating as Ghostbuster fans. And that's a real joy. So our next step, obviously, is to make sure everything's all set up and to put in the archway in the middle. And make sure you really line this up really well, or else you're going to run into problems. As you'll see later in the video, I kind of run into problems with that by not having it lined up. It looked fine here on video, but later on it ended up messing up. So what we're going to do now is apparently connect the final part of this top set of the building for the first part of the firehouse. And as you can see here, I'm trying to line things up, make everything fit nice and snug. And I really didn't have any issues at this point. Everything's still working fine. Everything really was just falling into place. So then, of course, we got that middle section we got to worry about now. If I'm not, oh no, actually I lied to you guys. We actually have to put in a whole bunch of more clips to make sure everything's all connected nice, safely, and securely, because you don't want this thing falling apart on you and whatnot. But I do think I actually do put the middle piece in. I think I combined steps here. Let's see. So, yep, see, look. So then you put the back piece in. I did have some problems with this, and I did have to stop the video, even though it's a hyperlapse here. So, as you can see in the final product, we got everything all lined up on the back of it, and voila, the firehouse is now set up pretty much perfectly. Now, before I go into a full rundown of everything, there's still a couple more steps left based on the instructions, but I wanted to go over a couple things with you guys that I felt that I wanted to point out. This thing is, for starters, huge, and of course we got the hook and ladder and Firehouse 8 signs to put in. So what I did is I just slide in the middle piece first, make sure that's lined up with the hole if you plan on putting in the ghost sign in there. And then I lined up one side, sort of okay. As you can see, I'm a little bit nervous putting all that in. I'm just kind of like waiting for it to fall over or do some crazy stuff. And then I spend a little more time trying to look cool, popping in this other section here. Really not doing it too well either. But it does slide in. Once again, I keep reiterating this. Take your time with it. It's going to go a lot smoother for you guys, as long as you're not like filming, or maybe you do film and it comes out like even more fantastic than what I did. I'm just trying to show this as a visual guide for people who may need it. Now, I am plugging in the Ghostbusters 2 sign first, only because the instructions have the hook and ladder sign in there and whatnot, and then it fits in really no issues. The first time I plugged in the sign, I did have a couple of problems with it. I think it was just the stiffness of the plastic, but as you see, if you flip it around to the side, you can get some nice shots out of it and whatnot, and I think that's a lot of fun. So if you're a big fan of Ghostbusters 2 and you have the Ghostbusters 2 sign out, I think you're really going to enjoy that setup with it. I do like Ghostbusters 2, but it's not the sign that I am going to have up. So I'm going to just unplug this, and basically I'm going to take off the hook and ladder, and I'm going to plug in the first movie sign, or the Real Ghostbusters sign, or the Ghostbusters video game sign, or the more traditional sign, if you will. Not the one that's made for advertisements for a second movie. And I did make some modifications to this second one. I did open it up, and I put some tea lights in there so it would light up. But as you can see, I put it back together. It holds up pretty well. If I flip it around here, I think I already have the lights on this, if I'm not mistaken. So it looks great. As you can see, the lights are off. I have a glowing Ghostbuster sign. It's been like a lifelong thing to have that sign light up, and I found a way to do it without being a master electrician. And then you darken it out more. Those tea lights that you can buy on Amazon, like $8.99, you stick them in there with some masking tape or clear tape, and you can get your sign to light up just like that. You don't have to do this. This is of course optional, but for me it was a real pleasure to get that sign to light up and hang over the firehouse display. Now, so here's our size comparison. Of course, we have Gozer's Temple, we have the Firehouse, we have the NECA San Diego set that came with the Turtles, and then behind that I have an Extreme Dash Sets building. I mean, we have so many options as toy collectors and toy photographers. It truly is amazing. As you can see, the Firehouse holds up with each and every one of these, so if you want to create different scenes and setups, you definitely can. So what I'm going to do now is get ready, show you a little bit more of the Firehouse now complete, and then wrap things up. Alright everyone, here's our final look at the Ghostbuster house. I just wanted to put this shot in perspective. I want you guys to soak this all in real quick, because it is quite an impressive feat from Diamond Select. And then I did something a little extra. I took one of my Extreme Dash Set pop-ups and I created a scene within the Ghostbuster Firehouse. Don't know why I slurred on my words there. But I threw 2 real Ghostbuster figures together, just talking, having a good time. As you can see, there are a lot of possibilities with this thing. It's all up to your imagination and creativity. So let's go ahead and do one other size roundup and we'll wrap this video up. So for our size roundup, I figured I'd throw a whole bunch of Ghostbuster figures so you can see what's going on. From Louis Tully to our Vinimate to our Mattel Venkman to the Real Ghostbusters to Ghostbusters 1, Ernie Hudson, and Ghostbusters 2, Egon. And if I move him aside, we got that Stranger Things kid. I've never watched that show, I just got the figures, so because I thought it'd be cool for the Ghostbusters to interact with kids dressed up as Ghostbusters. But as you can see, it can fit different lines, some better than others. It's all in how you display things or take pictures with them. But guys, I honestly think that's going to wrap everything up today. I really hope everyone had a chance to collect and build this. It was a joy for me to do that. Once again, a special shout out to Diamond Select for helping with the final 3 pieces. This thing's massive. It's a lot of fun. It's huge. As you can see, I mean, the possibilities are endless. It's great as a display piece. It's great as a toy. It's great in so many factors. I'm beyond tickled to have it in my collection, and hopefully you will be too. With that being said, though, guys, if you get some free time, head over to undercovercapes.com and check out Extreme Dash Sets. Slideshow at the end. Take care, everyone, and until next time, great googly moogly.